How is everybody? Where are you guys watching from? Type a message and tell me where you're at. So good to see everybody. My husband just ran into the room and said, honey, wait. I've got to get the baby monitor because my daughter's asleep. El Paso, Texas. Awesome. I'm in Fort Worth, Texas. So, oh, awesome. Tennessee. Oh, hi, Kristen. Good to see you. There's my husband supporting me from the other room. All right, so for those of you who don't know me, my name is Lauren Bourne. Hi, Katie. And I scope every day. I just basically share encouragement for people trying to conceive, going through fertility struggles, and dealing with loss and miscarriage. So we're going through a series, Fertility A to Z, and I'm gonna get right into it today. Today we're on M. Oh, you're from Frisco. Awesome, Tiffany. Thanks for sharing. Today we're on M, and yesterday we talked about loss. L is for loss, and so we talked about loss, and today we're continuing to talk about loss. M is for miscarriage. And if you didn't know, I shared this yesterday, but October is like National Infant and Pregnancy Loss Awareness Month. So October 15th is the day for that, the national day for that. So, you know, just be aware. In October, you may see more people posting about their miscarriages, about their losses. So it's just something to be aware of. And I'm just kind of trying to bring awareness to miscarriage. It's something that a lot of people don't talk about. And that's okay if you want that to be a private thing. But what happens is a lot of times people feel like they can't grieve and they can't hurt and that it's not a big deal. So we're just kind of trying to bring some awareness. I've had a lot of people message me and say, thank you for sharing. It makes me feel like I'm not alone. I'm not the only one. So, so that blesses me. Thank you so much for your messages. I love when you find me. Here's how you can find me now. Finally got one page up on the website. We're still working on it to get it ready to launch, but you can go to iamfruitful.org and you can find all the social media links. So that's all I've got on the page right now, but you can find me, you know, wherever you hang out. Like if you're an Instagram person or Facebook, you can find me there. And I will be trying to post every day. So that's that. So we're going to share some facts about miscarriage before I get into this. A lot of people don't know how big of a deal it is and how many people it affects. Statistics vary, but I feel like a safe one to give is about 30% of pregnancies end in miscarriage. That's 1 in 3. And it's a pretty high statistic, but you know, most people, by the time they find out they're pregnant, their risk is lower because your risk actually goes down the farther you are into your pregnancy, and most people don't find out right at 4 weeks. If you're going through fertility treatments, you find out super early, and so the statistics can be higher because you're finding out a lot earlier, so your risk is higher. And I'm not sharing all this to scare you or to bring fear. I'm just sharing it to bring awareness, okay? And most of miscarriages occur in the first 12 weeks. And I know some of you have had miscarriages at or after 12 weeks. And I can't imagine. I think that would be so hard, you know, and then going through stillbirth and things like that. It's just a really hard thing to talk about. And, you know, when you're going through fertility treatment, you hear scarier statistics because I heard one that like 75% of pregnancies or of conceptions end in miscarriage, but that statistic is based on a little bit earlier of a time, like fertilization, not implantation. So, I mean, it's just crazy. There's lots of stats, but it's just good to know that there are a lot of miscarriages. Probably more people than you think have gone through it, and they're maybe just more private about it. So just be aware, and I want to just kind of bring awareness to the types of miscarriages. This is for people who, okay, so 8 weeks, yeah, super hard. Fertility treatments stink. Yes, they do. And I missed your name. I think it was Brenda. We're actually going to talk about procedures and treatments when we do P. So we're going through the alphabet. When we get to P, we're doing that. So that's just in a couple days. Hi, Brenda. So join us for that. I'd love to hear your thoughts and maybe what you went through when we talk about procedures and treatments. So here are a few types of miscarriages. If you're just not sure, you know, what that means even, there are several kinds. So tubal or ectopic, that is when the egg fertilizes. Thanks for inviting followers. The egg fertilizes but not in the uterus. So the egg fertilizes, usually it's in the fallopian tubes. And so the baby can't grow there. And so they have to do a procedure to remove it. Recurrent miscarriages, when you have like 3 or more in a row in the first trimester, and that happens, you know, not as frequently, but it does happen. We've had 3. An embryonic pregnancy is when the egg fertilizes and implants but never develops. So that happened to you twice. Are you talking about the ectopic pregnancy that it happened to you twice? I'm thinking. I have heard that when it happens, it seems to happen, it can happen more than once. Yeah. I'm so sorry that you had to deal with that. Ectopic pregnancies are so tough. I've never struggled with one myself, but I have friends who have, and it's so hard. I'm so sorry you had to go through that. And then, of course, stillbirth is basically any loss of life after 20 weeks. Chemical pregnancy is a really early miscarriage, so I hate that term. Chemical pregnancy. I hate it so much. It sounds so, what's the word? Like lab, I don't know. It's just, I don't like it. Chemical pregnancy. We had one of those. So basically it's before the baby can be seen on an ultrasound. And then another one is you can lose, you know, if you have multiple birth, you know, if you're a multiple pregnancy, I don't even know what I'm saying, like twins, triplets, whatever, and you can lose 1 or more babies, but still have a baby from that pregnancy. So, and that is what is going, I'm going to segue into my story. I'm going to try to share this quickly. I'm not going to share all the details, but I just want you to hear it so you know that I've been there, and then I can relate, so that when I do share, you're like, yeah, she's been there, she understands. So here's what happened to us. And then after I share what happened to us, I'm going to give you some encouragement. I'm going to share something my dad sent me after one of my miscarriages, basically that it's not your fault. So if you're struggling with guilt, that's a big one that people struggle with. It is not your fault. And I'm going to share that in a little bit, okay? So my first, I'll share the first one. We tried to conceive for about 2.5 years, and I'm not going to share all the details of our treatments and things today. I do want to share that another time, but today I'm going to talk about our loss, okay? So we tried to conceive for about 2.5 years, and we got pregnant, and we found, after doing treatment, and we found out that we were having twins. On an ultrasound, they were identical twins, which means that was all God, which it's always all God, but meaning it wasn't a result of, you know, Clomid stimulating my follicles or things like that. Don't share those details. Oh, I know what Billy, you're going to get me all flustered. All right. You always have to make some kind of awkward joke. Okay. So, I don't even know where I was. So we found out we were having twins. They were identical twins, so they shared a sac. And what I was saying was, the fact that they were identical twins meant that was not a result of Clomid or any medicine. It was the egg was fertilized and split in 2. That's how identical twins happen, and they shared a sac. So about a week later, our fertility doctor had us go in for like a more high-tech ultrasound sonogram to just, since we were high risk, so he wanted to check it out. And we went in, and the very, very rude sonogram tech or ultrasound tech, whatever, informed us in a very blunt way that we just had 1 baby. It was devastating and confusing, and she wasn't very kind during the whole process, and so that made it even harder. And she actually told me right after she told us there was just 1 that it would be a lot easier that way. Anyways, she said, yeah, she wasn't sympathetic at all. I remember her saying something like, oh, this will be easier anyways. 1's a lot easier. I was just devastated. And I was very confused and felt very guilty because I didn't think I could grieve because I still had a baby. I still had a baby that was alive. The heartbeat was great. And so I didn't grieve. I mean, I was really sad. I was confused. I kind of just shoved it down and was grateful for the baby I had. So that was the first one. I think I was in denial a little bit. I would think I was even in denial that there was even two to begin with. I know I was, because I talked to some of my friends about it when it happened, and I remember saying, like, I don't even know for sure if there were two, maybe there weren't, but there were, and my doctor confirmed it, and I snapped out of my denial and dealt with it. But the second miscarriage, we had been trying after my son was born, since he was born, even though they say not to, we did anyways. And we did IUI, and we got pregnant. And I knew for 5 days. I knew for 5 days, and then heard that term, chemical pregnancy. So they did some blood work and told me I had a chemical pregnancy. And that's when I started really hating that term. And it was really tough. That miscarriage was super tough on our marriage. We did not know how to be there for each other. It was really tough. For one reason, I dealt with my first miscarriage when I dealt with my second miscarriage, because all of those emotions started flooding back, and I realized I hadn't really grieved. So I grieved 2 losses in one. It was a twofer. So yeah, Billy was traveling. He was traveling a lot. You were gone also for the third one. So for our third, oh, and I wanted to share this. This is from this journal that I keep sharing from. This is how I felt. This is what I wrote down pretty much the day after I found out. I just put, I'm feeling hurt, devastated, let down, sad, lonely, frustrated, and angry. Those were all the things I was feeling. And then I also went on that I was thankful to God for some things. So I was really, really, I was real with how I was feeling. I wrote it down to God and let him know how I was feeling. And I really encourage you to do that. If you're not a big journaler, I understand that. But just get a book and even just write down one quick sentence, of how you're feeling every day. It can really help to bring out some of the things that are shoved down so deep, okay? So here's the third one. Sorry I'm talking so quick. I'm trying to get through this because I have a lot to share. So 2 months later, I had another one. And I shared this yesterday, but I had a miscarriage. My best friend had a miscarriage. I had another one. Thank you so much for saying that. And then my best friend had another one. So there were 4 between the 2 of us just in about 3 months. And it was really hard because every time she had one, I am still grieving for mine and just feeling hers also. Because we feel for our friends when they're going through stuff like that. So that was really tough. And here's kind of the crazy story about miscarriage number 3. I actually went to Melissa. I don't know if you're still on here, but she did this really cool thing. I think she did it a couple years in a row. And I believe, Melissa, if you're on here, I think you called it We Remember You walk. And so we went to that walk, and basically it was just, we got little signs with our baby's name or who we were walking for. A walk to remember, is that it? Maybe a walk to remember. There are a couple different ones that you can do, but anyways, and they release balloons, and you just walk, and it's kind of a good way to just kind of get some healing and some closure maybe. Well, while I was at that walking for my first, miscarriage, my son's twin, and then the second miscarriage, I got a call from the doctor. We had just found out we were pregnant, and I got a call from the doctor that my HCG was like at a 6, which implies miscarriage. It should be like well over 100. At that day, it should have been well over 100. So, again, I was super confused, and to be honest with you, that miscarriage, I read through my journal, I 100% believed that baby would live. I'm getting an alert here on my phone. I believed that baby would live. I had no doubt that God would take care of it and that it would live and not die. But it didn't live, and so we lost another baby. And, the Lord spoke to me in so many ways through that. A couple days later, was at a habitation. It's one of our services at our church with a friend, and I just saw this beautiful picture of, this is, I think before I found out for sure that we had lost the baby, I was still hoping, but I saw a picture of Jesus dancing with 3 small children, and it was so beautiful to me. It confirmed that those babies are in heaven, that I will see them again. It gave some value to their lives, and just some hope for me. So that was a really cool thing. See him tearing up. It's still hard to talk about. Anyways, this is a crazy thing I want to talk about too. 2 or 3 months later, we're still going through our procedures, our treatments. Every month I'm in and out of the doctor, totally being violated like every other day, it felt like. And we had 4 mature follicles one month. And previously we had 4, and the doctor said, we're not going to do any procedures, it's too many follicles. Well, this time he said, I think we should do it. And this is what he said next. Well, I won't go into all the detail. Basically, he told me we could do selective reduction, and I had no clue what that was. Even going through all the fertility treatments and being completely anti-abortion, I didn't know what that was. And basically, it means if you have 4 mature follicles, your chances of conceiving multiples are really, really high. And so if you have twins, triplets, or 4, you go in after you're pregnant, find out how many you have, and terminate 1 or more of the babies. I had no clue that was even an option, and I was just disgusted, mostly because I had just lost babies, and, well, not mostly, there's lots of reasons to be disgusted by that, but I had just lost babies, and he's sitting here telling me that, well, we'll just try, you'll probably get pregnant, and then we'll just terminate 1 or 2 of the weaker ones, basically. I was just, emotionally in that time, I was confused, conflicted, devastated, hopeful, so many things going on. And so I say that because if you're going through this, there are so many different things that can happen. Everybody's story is so different, and everyone's emotions are different. And I just want to tell you that the emotions you feel, it's okay to feel those things. It's okay to feel emotional. It's an emotional time. It's good to get a grasp on your emotions, but you know what? If you're feeling hopeful in one day and sad in one day and devastated and disgusted and all those things that I shared, it's okay. It's also a lonely time. Yeah, it's okay. So I just want to validate that it's okay that you feel all these different things. You're not crazy. You're not crazy. You're normal, and you're dealing with grief, and you have to allow yourself to grieve. That was my number 1 tip yesterday about dealing with loss, is allow yourself to grieve. We continue trying, just like to put a happy note on the story, we continue trying. We did about 9 months of treatments, about 6 IUIs, and we did get pregnant, and my daughter is upstairs asleep right now. She's 10 months old. So happy story. This isn't all sad stuff, right? But I do want to share this. I'm just going to put these scriptures up here. These are some scriptures that helped me through. Oh no, I hope the light's not too bright. The best way to do this would just be take a screenshot. So, oh, Baby Lost Hope Found. She does a vlog about this very issue. That's awesome. I'm so glad you could join. I need to check you out and get some tips. I am new to this. So do a screenshot. Here are some scriptures. And you can go look those up if you're struggling with this. Thanks for inviting followers. So go look those scriptures up. I'm not going to read them all to you. And then this is what I'm going to read that's so awesome. Sorry, I've got like 5 different notes. I missed that last comment. Sorry. All right, let me log in here. My dad sent me an email after baby number 2 or 3, I can't remember. And he sent the email because he thought it'd be so emotional to talk about. And it was like the most encouraging email. He made me feel like there was purpose and hope. He validated my emotions without even knowing how I felt. Oh, you lost your baby at 19 weeks. Oh my gosh. I don't know if you were with us at the beginning, but we talked about some of the different types of miscarriages. And I mean, at 19 weeks, so anyone who doesn't know this, like at 19 weeks, you are in the clear. That's what they say. You're in the clear, and you're not, a lot of people aren't worried about miscarriage anymore. And, you know, they say at 12 weeks, you're in the clear. And I'm so sorry that happened to you. That's just, it's so hard. You're like almost, you were already feeling him kick. Oh my gosh. I can't even imagine. I mean, that's one thing I've said about my miscarriages. They all happen so early. And I don't know. I think for me personally, I can't say this about anyone else, but for me personally, it would be easier losing them early because you don't feel them kick. You don't know. Struggled with going through more fertility treatments. Yeah, I know. We did too. It's really tough. You have to just decide for yourself, and you're going to make the right choice. And you know what? If you choose one thing and you feel like it's not working out for you, you can always change your mind, and you can pray about it and allow God to direct you at that point. That was one of the best bits of advice I had actually in childbirth was if you start doing something and it's not working out for you, you can do something else. So always following what God wants you to do. But thank you for sharing that and being so vulnerable on Periscope. I appreciate you sharing that. So I'm going to read what my dad shared with me, and I hope this blesses you guys. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm glad you said that. If it's meant to be, it'll be. And I don't know how you feel about that personally. You know, I believe that God can use treatments and procedures to help us conceive, but I believe ultimately He chooses. So, you know, you just have to decide what's best for you and do what's best for you and your family. And that's going to be the right thing, you know? What's right for you isn't right for me. And what I did may be the worst thing for someone else to do. It's just all about what God wants you to do for your family. So here's what my dad said to me. I'm just going to read it. He said, when something good happens, we usually say, God blessed us. But when something bad happens, we default to blaming ourselves, thinking, what sin did I do? Or what thing did I not do? I don't measure up. Okay, I'm going to try to read your comments. Put your faith out there. Sorry, I missed all those comments, but I'll watch them on the replay. So he's saying, usually we say, what sin did I do? Or what thing did I do? You know, I don't measure up. This is my fault, or this is God's punishment. I hope your thinking hasn't gone down that path, is what my dad said. If so, let me be clear. God is full of grace and wants to direct us to a full, blessed life. He is not a God that throws lightning bolts when we mess up. There is nothing you or Billy did to cause this event, and nothing you could have done to change the outcome. God is in control, not us. He loves your baby as much as He loves you and wouldn't take that life because of something you did or didn't do. I hope you guys are hearing this. I hope you guys are receiving this for you and your situation, that God is not punishing you. You did not do something wrong to cause this. I know that so many people feel that way. I felt that way and didn't tell anybody except like my closest friend who also was going through it. And so I know that if I felt that way, other people felt that way too. So I hope that you will receive this and know that God is not punishing you. He is your daddy. He loves you. I know my earthly daddy would never take away something that precious to punish me, or, you know, like I love how he says, like, throw lightning bolts at you. And if that's the God that you know, then you don't know the right one. I hope that you can get to know the God that I know, because He loves us and He would never, ever punish us like that. Sorry, I'm tearing up. I'm all emotional. This is an emotional subject, you know. Okay, so he goes on to say, I hope I can see through my crazy tears. God also says He will give you the desires of your heart. Your desire for more children will be met. Okay, I'm going to say that to you. Your desire for more children will be met. Sometimes it doesn't look like God, or like what we thought it would look like. God has, you know, a different plan sometimes. I definitely didn't conceive my children the way I thought I would conceive. My husband and I eventually began joking, like when we were in the rooms doing our IUIs and our procedures and our treatments and our tests, joking about how, you know, this is not how people normally conceive. You know, this isn't as fun. This is so clinical. But, you know, fun practicing. We practiced anyways, even though we had to go in for our procedures. But, anyways, I just want to encourage you. It's not your fault. I'm sorry that you've gone through a miscarriage or miscarriages. I just hate it. I hate it so much, and I'm sorry you've had to go through it. Hi, Anna. And your angel baby is 10 years old. Oh my goodness. See, okay, I'm glad you said that, because you have a date written down. That's another thing I want to encourage you guys. If you can write dates down, remember them. It's good to remember them. It's sad for a while, and it does get easier, just like with any loss. Maybe not easier, but the feelings aren't as powerful. remember them. And another suggestion I have is, if you're comfortable with it and you and your spouse agree to it, name them. Oh, he was stillborn. Yeah, we talked about that at the beginning here, and you delivered naturally. I can't imagine having to go through that. For those of you who don't know, like, there's different ways that can happen when you have a miscarriage that late or a stillborn. And so basically she's saying she had to deliver her baby as if she were delivering her baby that was alive. And so that's a really, really tough thing. It's, yeah, you can't even imagine. I can't imagine either. We lost ours so early, and I cannot imagine that. That has to be so hard, and I just want to validate that and tell you that I'm sorry. So, so it's not your fault. Oh, and name them if you can. I don't know if any of you have named your babies. If you have, one of you put the name up earlier. If you have put the names up, I would love to see that. We named ours. We have Levi, was my son's twin. We have Harmony, and we have Ford. The Lord showed us. Asher Jude, yeah, I saw that earlier. That's a good one. So beautiful, beautiful name. The Lord gave us names for each of our babies, and we know genders. We feel that we know genders. We know the first one's gender, and we feel that we know the others. So it just brings some healing if you can do that, and name your babies. Send your babies' names to lauren@iamfruitful.org. I would love to recognize them. And my son has one of the names. Oh, I think that's awesome. That's awesome that you continue that name on in your family. I think that's beautiful. One day you can share it with him, and it can be really meaningful for your family. So email your baby's names to lauren@iamfruitful.org. On October 15th, that's National Infant and Pregnancy Loss Awareness Day. I'm going to just do a special thing. I'm going to share their names. If you have a short story, like just a very short, maybe like a short paragraph of your story about loss, I'd love to share some stories during October. And so if you're emailing me, though, just understand that I will be sharing them. So if you don't want it to be shared on Periscope, then don't email me. Email me also your questions. I'm doing Q for questions on Saturday, and I would love to know what questions you have. It can be about miscarriage. It can be about procedures. A lot of people are curious about different procedures. It can be about anything related to fertility, and I'm going to pray about all those questions and answer them on Saturday. So thank you guys so much for joining. This was kind of a Debbie Downer one. Tomorrow we're talking N, and we're talking about N is for negative test. We're going to talk about the emotions that come along with that, about seeing the negative sign every single month. So join with me tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for supporting me here.